It is very difficult to speak after all these great speakers, but I will try my best. I'm the last one today. First, I would like to thank the Global Embassy for having me to participate in this event today. This is my second time. I enjoy it very much. I appreciate it. I'm also pleased to share a podium with these wonderful speakers. And please give them a big hand. They did wonderful jobs. Good evening. Good afternoon. My name is Hong Net. I was born in a small country in Southeast Asia called the Kingdom of Cambodia. I came to the United States in 1982. I graduated from college in 1992 and went back to work in Cambodia for international community in 1994. I came back to the States in 1997 because of the coup in Cambodia and got married to my wife, Tara, in 1998. And we moved to Lynn in that year. And we have 2 children together. And I got elected to the city council in November 2011 and got re-elected last year. And thank you very much to Lynners. Currently, I work for the Massachusetts Department of Revenue as a child support enforcement specialist and also work at the City Hall as well. Today, I'm honored to share my experience I had in Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge and in the refugee camp. Cambodia was once a beautiful country and peaceful and prosperity, but things had changed because of politicians changed their mind. King Norodom Sihanouk ruled Cambodia for 16 years. Under his administration, Cambodia was prosperous and was the role model to many ways in Southeast Asia. Even Singapore copied Cambodia for the efforts and political systems and even architects. But things had changed because Sihanouk allowed the communists to use Cambodia to attack South Vietnam and attack American soldiers in South Vietnam during Vietnam War. And so Cambodia was bombed by the Nixon and Kissinger's daily, and my house got blown up so many times. So we used to live in a bunker all the time. And I had a grandmother who was deaf. I always pointed at her up to make sure there's the plane coming, so she pulled us into the bunker. Like I said, Cambodia was beautiful back then, before the war. And its capital city, Phnom Penh, was known as the Little Paris of Cambodia. And we were proud. So the war in Vietnam and the B-52 bombers bombing Cambodia really changed the whole economic situation in Cambodia. In March 1970, when Prince Sihanouk was away visiting Soviet Union and China, so he was overthrown by his defense minister, General Ronald, with the help from American CIA. So from Beijing, China, Sihanouk called to his people who live in countryside to go to the jungle to join the Khmer Rouge, was led by Pol Pot, and also was known as Cambodian Communists, which was helped by the North Vietnamese Communists as well. When Ronald took over the country in March 1970, so he changed the country from Kingdom of Cambodia to the Khmer Republic of Cambodia. So with the help from Americans. So ever since, the country became chaos and civil war started. And it lasted for 5 years. Because of the corruption among the Lono regime, and the Khmerus starting to win the war. Because all the Khmerus fighters were volunteered, and they're loyal to the prince, and also loyal to the communism. So the US continued to bomb Cambodia until the war was over in 1975. By April 1975, Americans started to close its embassy and pull all the personnel from Cambodia and left the puppet government fight alone. But they could not win because of corruption and the weak government. So April 1975, unfortunately, the Khmerus took over the country. Immediately, they started to evacuate everyone from cities and towns by claiming that American B-52 bombers would come to bomb all cities and towns, but they were lied. So nothing happened. America never went back to bomb Cambodia. So from the beginning, they asked the Lono soldiers and whoever loyal to the prince to join them to greet the prince. Instead, they took them to be killed and led them to a mass grave instead. The prince did not come, but later he came. He came to join the Pol Pot and became head of state for 1 year. That he had to go back to China because he was not allowed to run the country. The people who ran the country, only 4 people: the Pol Pot himself, his brother-in-law Ieng Sary, and their spouses, the 2 sisters. Later on, they were known as the Cambodia's Gang of 4. So the Khmerus began to evacuate everyone. Within hours, the whole country was emptied. So everyone went to live in jungles or countryside, and nobody knew where they were going. So women was deliver babies on the roads. The cripples, the sick children who was unable to go on, left die on the road or be killed by the Khmerus, and forced the family to go on. Then they started to investigate on people's background, and they started to accuse all people were spies to the American CIA. So they started to kill people with no reason. They asked people to abandon everything they own. So they only allow people to go to countryside with empty hands and promised that they would take care of them. But they never did. The Khmerus began to ban religion practice, education. They closed all schools. They separated children from their families, and I was one of them. I was separated from my family after my mother died and my brother died. My mother died from overwork after she delivered a baby, my youngest brother. So immediately after she delivered my youngest brother, so she was forced to work in the rice paddies. So she couldn't bear, so she died suddenly in front of me. So they took her away immediately, put her on a straw mattress to the bedside. I believe they buried her alive because we didn't have a chance to wake her up. Then very soon, my brother died afterward from starvation and disease. My job was to take care of him. I collect snails every day to feed him. I didn't have a chance to see him die, so they took him away. I don't know where they took him to. So I was only 7 back then. So like many other children, so we were forced to work in rice paddies, dig canals, and do other things. And my father also was taken away by the Khmer Rouge as prisoners. He got beaten very badly. So my little brother had to live with my aunt. So yes, I was forced to live in a camp with other children, clear bushes, work on dig canals, and build dams, and work on rice paddies as well. So the Khmer Rouge brainwashed us every night. They forced us to work 7 days a week without food. Well, sometimes without food, but most of the time very little rice porridge. I always hungry. My body sometimes was swollen, sometimes was like a skeleton. I pretend to be dumb, I pretend to be deaf, because I didn't want them to ask me any questions. Because my family was part of the soldiers of the army, of Lone Army too. I didn't want them to know the background. So the Khmer Rouge were not allowed us to own anything. So everything belonged to the government. And all women were not allowed to wear makeups, were not allowed to keep long hairs, and everyone had to wear black pajamas. So everyone had to be equal. So if they accuse me of something, they kill you. There's no justice system whatsoever. There's no question asked. You were not allowed to ask questions, not allowed to look straight into their eyes. So if you look straight into their eyes, it's a sign that you want to challenge them. So that's why you see a lot of Cambodians came to this country. First time, they were afraid to look at people's eyes. When they talk, they always look down, including myself. And a lot of people in this country were upset with us because they thought we were disrespectful, but actually was not the case. So they create their own revolution songs, and actually we were forced to work 7 days a week, and at night we had to attend meetings to brainwash us. They let us children watch them kill other people. So they asked us not to show any emotion. I even saw them ate human livers. I saw them drank human gallbladders with wine. In fact, there plenty of food. The Khmer Rouge had all kinds of food to eat, but they didn't let us eat. They let us starve to death. So they took the rice, shipped to China, exchanged for guns and trucks so they could come and kill their own people. That was their goal. But for the last, first about 3.5 years, so about 2.5 million Cambodians died from starvation, disease, and execution. By December 1978, the Khmer Rouge started to collapse because the Vietnamese invaded Cambodia with the help from the other Khmer Rouge who fled to Vietnam. So I, including other children, escaped to the jungles after the Vietnamese took over. We went to the jungle and walked toward the west. We wanted to go to Thailand. But the killing was not stopped right there. The Khmer Rouge continued to kill people. This time, they killed people by accusing that they were spies of Vietnamese instead of spies of American CIA, this time spy Vietnamese. And they believed that they could win the war, but they never did. So on the way to, it took me, this time I was about 11 years old. It took me about a month to walk across mountain range to Thailand. I had witnessed so many babies abandoned on mountains, and many babies crawl on their dead mothers from hunger and scared. I ate only leaves and wild fruits I could find. Many times I was scared that they would chop me and eat me instead, but I had to be mindful all the time. And one day when we reached a mountain near the border of Thailand, a group of armed men came and killed everybody. Hundreds of people were slaughtered, and the river turned with blood. I was fortunate enough, I was able to hide under a tree in the river bank. I stayed there for the whole night. In the morning, when the things calmed down, I climbed up the river bank and found some food and a piece of and a pineapple, so I ate. Then had the energy to walk to Thailand. But when I got to Thailand, to the border, was not safe either. The Thai guard who patrol border did very cruel things to refugees like myself. They robbed everything we had. They raped the women before they led us to the camp. In the camp, because I had no adults to depend on, I had to sleep in the rain next to people's tents. Once a week, the United Nations would come to the camp and give us some food, a can of rice, a can of soybean, and a condensed milk. I saved up the milk so I could sell to other refugees, so I could have some money to buy my own clothes, and a plastic so I could cover myself at night when it rains. So once a week, we had to stand in the hot sun and rain waiting for food from the United Nations. So one day, I cheated. I want to get 2 times. So when you got one, they mark your ear with a permanent marker. So I cleaned the ear, I went back, so the Thai guard saw me. Then he kicked me and hit me in the head with batons, police batons. So I fell on the ground, blacked out. My head was bleeding. I still have the scar. So this second time, so during the Khmer Rouge, I got hit many times too, so I don't have to mention because everybody did. But I stayed in that camp for a few months. Then the Thai government decided to dump us in the jungle at the border of Cambodia, near the stronghold, where the Khmer Rouge stronghold. The fighting was intense every day and every night. People died from crossfire, step on landmines, bamboo traps. So we had to find our ways to live. So I ate only bamboo shoots. But at night, I always snuck out to steal some cassavas from Thai farmers. And during the day, I stayed in a river, so I could searching for crabs, snails, lizard, anything I could grab on to survive. Took me a few months, and I decided to sneak out to Thailand to steal some peanuts. While I was digging peanuts, the Thai farmer found me. He was about to shoot me, but I kneeled down and prayed for his mercy. He was kind enough and took me to his house. I stayed with him for a month illegally. Then the Thai words went around, and Thai soldier came to take me to live in another camp. Before that, he put me in jail for 3 days. Then the United Nations personnel came and take me to live in the camp as an orphanage center. The news was good news came in 1982. I was asked to pick a country to come for safe haven. So I chose Australia instead. I didn't want to come to America. Why? Because I hated America. Because they bombed Cambodia. Because of the B-52 bomb that had produced the Khmer Rouge that destroyed the country. And because of the propaganda that how bad Americans was. What did I know? I never heard of America. I never seen what American looked like, except the planes flying over my head and bomb at us and shoot at us. So I believed them. That's why I didn't want to come to America. But I didn't have the choice. I was fortunate enough to come here. I'm very grateful for this. So today I'm here, and so when I had a chance to live a good life in this country, but I never forget people in Cambodia still suffer every day. That's why I went back to work and to help them to open a school and assist the government and also teach them some democracy and evolving loans to farmers. But nowadays, Cambodians in Cambodia is not quite completely free yet. The government over there is still very cruel to their people. They still rob their lands, push them away from their homes. The human rights in Cambodia is very bad. I'm very disappointed. These days, it still happens, and I do not want to see this kind of things go back to Cambodia and to our world. And thank you so much for the opportunity.